The family's great reward. We were a family of yawns. Our spiritual lives were marked by a chronic lack of energy, especially when it came to God's Word. Every Sunday, our aunties would encourage us to read the Bible during the week, but the weight of the book felt heavier than a stone. We, the adults, my husband Lando, our two college-aged children, and I were all guilty of the same spiritual laziness. Read the Bible?
Why?
We know the stories. Lando would mumble, preferring to scroll through his phone. Our children found it boring and too hard to understand. The truth was, we had no appetite for God's law. We found it burdensome, a list of do's and don'ts that stole our fun. We wandered through life feeling perpetually unmoored, stressed, and always just a little bit grumpy. We believed in God, yes, but we certainly weren't experiencing the peace promised to believers. Then, we read the verses from Psalm 19 and the message explaining them. The fear of the Lord, reverently worshiping Him, is clean, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. Moreover, by them the precepts your servant is warned, instructed, informed, and guarded, and in keeping them there is a great reward. The first revelation was that the fear of the Lord was not the terrifying dread we associated with demons, but reverent worship, a profound awe that leads to moral cleanliness. We realized our laziness stemmed from a lack of true reverence. We treated God's law like optional homework instead of the perfect, trustworthy, and righteous guide it was. The second revelation struck Lando. He had been involved in questionable business dealings, skirting the edge of dishonesty. He saw the description. The commandments are a vital warning and a guard to keep us from harm. He realized his stress wasn't from work pressure, but from ignoring the guardrails God had put up. His life was unraveling because he had rejected the safety of the boundaries. For me and the children, the message that the law instructs and informs us about God's character was life-changing. We hadn't been reading because we thought it was just ancient rules. We didn't realize it was the unending channel of cleanliness for our minds and spirits. We committed that night, not to read out of duty, but out of reverence. We began a family devotional focused on reading and studying the commandments and statutes. It was slow at first, but as we internalized the words, be honest, be loving, be just, a change took root. Lando confessed his business wrongdoings and chose the harder, but cleaner, path. Our children found that meditating on the truth quieted their anxieties and gave them peace in their studies. The greatest truth we lived by was the final promise. In keeping them there is a great reward. The reward wasn't a sudden fortune. It was the slow, steady build-up of a clear conscience, deep peace that settled over our home, and a palpable spiritual growth. We now understood. God's law was not a burden to be avoided, but a magnificent gift leading us not into destruction, but into the promised, endless reward of a life lived close to Him.